Hello, so today we're going to continue with inheritance and we are going to have a look at what the benefits are and also go through an example. So here we have an example of what we covered yesterday was the commission employee. Now I've made a base plus commission employee. So with this base plus commission employee, I've made a new package to hold both base plus commission employee and base plus commission test within it, two classes within this package. I've called it base plus commission employee, capital B for class, and instantiated a new private instance variable or scope variable or field within this class. And then as a result, then with the constructor, added it to the end of the constructor is a perimeter that needs to be added in. So when I instantiate a new object in base plus commission test, I must put in another number. If I do not, you can see that it will give me an error, and it will not only give me an error, but it will give me three different options to fix it. Add argument to match, change constructor, or finally, create another constructor. So what we want to do is add an argument, and I don't want it to be 0, so I'm going to put it as 10 or just 1,000. It's a floating point, so it has to be put 0.00 as a double for Java. Now, as a result of it being a private instance variable, we need a getter and setter method or an accessor and mutator method. So in this case, we have also added in a illegal argument exception, and down here we have our this base salary. The base salary in the constructor is being assigned to the private instance variable or field within this class. You can see this. This is going to be very important keyword in the next part of this video. So we have here set gross sales, which is the same as before, get gross sales, same as before, set commission, same as before, and all the way down here we've got our set base salary. And what's changed about this is that we need to put in a legal argument exception here. We also need our get base salary here, and we've changed our earnings, which is going to be base salary plus our commission rate. And we know from BIMDAS, the acronym, so brackets, indices, multiplication, BIMDAS, division, addition, and subtraction, they're the order of precedence when we calculate. So we need to do everything within the brackets first. Multiplication takes precedence, so commission rate multiplied by gross sales, and then we add our base salary and return it in as a double to earnings when we call earnings within base plus commission test. We've then also added an extra here, part of the string format here as base salary here. And now once we go to our base plus, here we have our base plus commission employee, and new. We call the constructor. We pass these through as the parameters, so 3 strings and 3 doubles. So if I go back here, we know that it's 3 strings, not going to be changed throughout because we're using final, and we have 3 doubles here. So as matching here, everything is matching, everything's logical. So when you're getting a little bit frustrated, there has to be an easy explanation for it, and usually the IDE will tell you. So here we have our system.out. In this case, it'll be Eclipse for me, integrated development environment in this case. Other integrated development environments will prompt in different ways. So we'll have a look maybe at the end of this series at doing more Android stuff, but for now we're just looking at the Eclipse stuff. So here we have as well our employee.get base salary. It's a double, so we have a 2-point precision on that as well. And our set base salary to 1,000. We print it out and we use our toString, which is our override method, because our base plus commission employee uses an override method from object. So if I click here, you can see here that it's in gray. And you can see that it's overridden from the java.lang.override, and it will tell you all the information here. Inheritance, overriding and hiding, inheritance and overriding, override. And if we click on this small little green part here in Eclipse, it will bring you to the actual object class, which is part of the java.lang package. So, and it will bring you directly to the method that it's overriding. It will tell you returns a string representation of the object. It tells you textually represents this object, and you can read more about what it does, but it also shows here it gets class, gets name, and basically returns it as a string representation of the object. So if we go up to the very top of the object, then you can see here copyright 1994, 2018 article, and the package is java.lang. So if you're ever unsure, you can actually go directly to the package, and they import the Java development kit, internal hotspot, intrinsic candidate, and you can look up all of these online as well. And it's a public class object. So in the previous video, I spoke about every class within Java extends object, and we looked at commission employee, and we extended the extended object, and then overrode just the we use the override methods for overriding toString. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to rewrite this code. It's not very, I want to use the word efficient, but I mean that in terms of writing. It's very laborious and labor intensive to copy and paste a lot of what we have already done, which is the commission employee. So the big advantage of using inheritance is that you can use inheritance-based design. And with inheritance-based design, all you need to do is when you inherit everything from the superclass, in the subclass, you can then just amend what needs tweaking for that. So that's why we use the term specialization for when it comes to inheritance. You can also do another design called collection-based design, but we'll come to that later. For now, we're just looking at superclass, subclass, or in C++, it is base class, derived class. So we'll get to know as well some of the lingo from speaking about it, or parent-child as well, a lot of people call them. So now I'm going to stop. Now I'm going to write out base plus commission employee extends commission employee, and that was the thing that we looked at yesterday. It's up on my GitHub as well. It's linked below, so my GitHub is linked below. If you're wondering where the code is, that's where it is. And then I'll see you in a minute. Hello, so I thought it was a good idea so that you could see how I'm going to basically convert this to an inheritance-based design. So there are also collection-based design, but inheritance-based design is what we're doing. So here we have our instance variables, and as you know, with inheritance, we inherit all of the things from commission employee. So if I go to commission employee, we have our 5 instance variables here, 3 strings and 2 doubles. So I can just delete them. Amazing. Now with the constructor, it's a different constructor to our parent class, our super class. So we also need to invoke the super constructor to construct that as well, as they're 2 separate objects. So we have to invoke the super here and then pass through the exact same variables that we're using. Now the formatting of this is only for demonstration purposes that I have it actually set to toggle word wrap, but it doesn't look so nice, but only for demonstration purposes, that's what I'm using. So just so you know. And here we have also, we can get rid of these because they're also in the super class. So we already have these if grow sales, so we don't need to rewrite the code, it's already there. So done, gone. The only thing that we need to change is things that are specific to this object, and that is why it's called specialization. Here we also don't need any of these, so we get rid of all of this as well. Nice. And also all of this code here. So I've just commented it out so you can see what it was in the commission employee that we're getting rid of, because we don't need any of this in the child class or the derived class, because we have it already in the parent. So we can get rid of all of that as well. So the only thing that's special about this is the base salary. Now, there are a couple of things that we need to change, because within commission employee, obviously the level of protection and access modifier is private here. So how do we get access to a lot of the things that are being used down here, as some of these are public then as a result, because our setters and getters we need for private instance variables. So here we're going to get an error when it comes to some access, and in this case we have here public double earnings return get base salary, and so that's using this which is really nice. And here we have super.earnings, so we're referring to the super class, and we're referring to the earnings method and what's returned in the earnings method, and we're adding it to, or we're amending it based on that. So here all we need is the keyword super to refer to the super class of where it extends. If you're worried about knowing what it extends, what the super class is, it's written at the top of the class. Our commission employee extends object because all classes extend object in Java, as we just mentioned. So down here then we just use super.earnings. Now with all of this, we don't need any of this, and we can get rid of most of it, and then we can just use the get base salary here instead. And then if we just get rid of all of this instead. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So we might need to adjust some more things, but for the moment that's it. And now we have our inherited class. So if we look here, we're going to also run into a couple of things that we need to adjust, but for now it's looking good. And we have here just a missing format like we would expect, because we've got too many of these modifiers here. So if we just have the first and last, maybe this is returning a double. This is, we need another percentage, maybe lowercase, and then it should be fine. Yeah, so now we have everything from the previous that we can use, as well as amending it for our inherited class. So you can see how beneficial it is. It's so short compared to commission employee. Has everything here that extends object, because every class in Java extends object. This is a separate object. It extends commission employee. It invokes the constructor with the keyword super, and whenever it needs to use one of the methods within the superclass, then it also uses the word super and then .earnings. So you just need to amend it. And this override is the keyword. So with here, we also have a way to get the override implement methods. And you can see within commission employee, we can get all of these here. So Eclipse, as an integrated development environment, shows you where your getter and setter methods are and what you can override. So if I wanted to select, let's say, get commission rate and press OK, then it would show me, and it would say return super, because it's returning at the moment from the super class. So I'm going to delete that though, because we don't need it. And it's better practice to have cleaner code for readability, but for the moment it's just for showing you. And we've left all of these exact same. All of these get first name, get last name, go to employee here. That's constructing base commission employee. When I go to base commission employee, it's just grabbing all of the things that it needs from the superclass. So we don't instantiate any of the private instance variables. There is the other intermediate level. So if I take away this, and if I write commission rate here, and when it's underlined, you can see here change visibility. So with our access modifiers, they're just the visibility for this as well. So here we can see we can change it to protected, which is our intermediate type access modifier. So if I go to commission employee here, these are all set as private. It's better software engineering practice if we leave these as private and we use just the setter and getter methods to modify everything, because then we can localize any of the issues that are encountered instead of changing the access rights. And then with the access rights comes different responsibilities within the code, which we'll see as we're going on. But for now, we needed the calculation for it, so we needed the full method within the superclass, which was down here for earnings, because we also needed the commission rate and the gross sales together. So that's it for today. I hope you like the example. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it, and leave a comment below. I'd like to hear some of your feedback, so send an email to learncomputerswithali@gmail.com if you like the video, and let me know what other topics you want to cover. Okay, thanks for watching.